As we all know, with the African American community, we are being somewhat attacked culturally, physically, and mentally. I decided to put a quick letter together. I feel like it's very important for us as athletes, entertainers, and so forth to use our platform to affect our community in a positive way. In the words of Dr. King, America is essentially a dream. And from the looks of things, the so-called African American community appears to be walking with their eyes wide shut. As for our forefathers, they were brought to this nation as slaves, and we are suffering from a serious identity crisis. In one generation, we were called or referred to as colored, then Negroes, Afro-American, blacks, and eventually African Americans. Who are we, people? But this is not by accident. This is the hand of God, as it is written. In Deuteronomy 28, verse 36 through 37, the Lord will bring you and the king which was set over you into a nation which you nor your fathers have known. And there you will serve other gods, wood and stone. And you will become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations where the Lord will lead you. And this is one scripture out of the entire Bible. I can show you plenty more. With that being said, I ask that this be viewed not merely as a statement, but as a call to action. In the near future, I'll be sponsoring a community development roundtable meeting with some other concerned, proactive community leaders. It's time that we stop thinking as individual persons and begin to mobilize as a unified people. Peace and love. Amar'e Stoudemire. Like, listen, this is a space where none of us is.
You still own the team to this day?
Yeah, I'm like, listen, and the African Americans that were brought here as slaves are Israelites. So let me go here now, plant a seed here, build this program here, so that way now that we're returning back to our land, so then now, I built that whole little infrastructure. So it's a whole different level of like learning, infiltrating, and also building in a space where we once were. And so I went through that whole process of like, we're back.
By the way, we drinking, what's that called? A stat? What's it called?
Stoudemire wine.
Stoudemire wine?
Yeah, this one right here is an orchard. You take care of me. Yeah, so when I played with the Knicks, man, it was like the fans actually were, what I found out was very like informative.
Man, you really be going there. You really going to Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I follow you on Instagram. I be like, I be worried sometimes.
No, I'm in there, bro. I was there for 4 years.
Yeah, but really?
Damn.
Wow.
You was out there playing also?
Yeah, I was also playing.
But you didn't go there to play. You went there to study?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Describe that, because this is like, I believe you're the only person I know like this.
Yeah, because I mean...
Like what?
that got this rich and then goes and wants to better themselves. And, this is dope.
Yeah, man. It was definitely... It happened naturally, bro. It wasn't never a plan of me growing up, like I want to go move to Israel.
Right.
It just happened.
You moved there?
Yeah. I was there for 4 years.
Wow.
I moved there.
In Jerusalem?
I was in Jerusalem for 3 years and 1 year in Tel Aviv.
Because Jerusalem, it's pretty bugged out, though, because all the Muslims, the Christians, and the Jews are all there together.
Everyone's there.
And they would think you Muslim, right? Is that like...
No, they really didn't. They didn't know what to think, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because first of all, I was going to play, so it took a lot of the eyes off of like a religious side and more so like the athletic basketball side. So I was able to somewhat, get engulfed in it without being like a religious guy in whatever sector.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I grew up an Israelite.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So my family are Hebrew Israelites, and so I was able to somewhat learn from that growing up. And then it just gravitated me to go to Israel and see what I've been learning firsthand.
Wow.
So I went there on that space.
That's dope.
How did you come into the wine thing? Like,
I mean, honestly, I was so I traveled the world doing wine tasting.
People pay you.
No, I was going on my own.
But you were you were trying to get into the business?
No. I was traveling anyways, right? Oh, okay. So I go to Athens, Greece. I go to France. I go to all these places, and I would go while I'm there.
Right.
I'd take historical site to match up what I'm learning in the Bible to be artifacts and true with what I'm seeing in history.
Wow.
And then I would also go and taste wine and do the food and wine pairing.
Wow.
So when that happened, I was doing that for a few years. And then when I moved to New York, so I met a guy from there, and we started talking. And he's like, hey, you know, you can definitely have your own wine. Let's talk. So we had a conversation about it. And then it took me about, for this wine right here, for the Reserve, this label, there's 3 bottles within this collection.
Wow.
So there's Reserve, which is this one. You have the Grand Reserve, and you have the Private Collection.
Which one we drinking now?
These are from Israel. So the vineyard, this vineyard is from Israel.
Right? It's aged? How?
Yeah, this year right here is a 2017.
Okay.
And it took me like about 7 months to figure out the labels, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to build something for the Stoudemire name, for the family, for my children.
Right.
So that way when they get older, they inherit something, the legacy.
Right.
And so I took 7 months to figure out the label that would become timeless, right?
Wow.
So, and these bottles are expensive.
Right.
And so what I wanted to do then is say I want to create a similar blend, but a lower price scale bottle.
Right.
And so I linked up with the family, the Herzog family out of California, and we created the new Stoudemire wine, the Origin, which
That's
is like
out of, this
is out of California.
Okay, Napa or no?
No. Close to Napa, but it's not exactly Napa.
Okay.
I forget the actual name of the region, but it's in California.
Right.
And this is a $29 bottle.
Right.
But it has
As
the same,
opposed to this one,
but
which
it has
is
the same flavor as the expensive bottle.
Okay.
You feel me?
And
So I want,
what did that run you?
this right here is running you $69.
60,
This is the lowest one, 69, 79, and then 99.
Okay, cool.
Are the 3 bottles.
Right.
This is 29. For the mass public, for the people who want to taste wine and have the same type of taste but can't afford these bottles, I want to create something less expensive for the mass public. So that's how we came up with this one.
Wow.
One interesting point about this bottle also is that the label, the artist Naturel. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with the art space, but Naturel is an artist, a world-renowned artist. He's actually one of 5 artists that was selected to be the artist for top sports, like the
cards,
the playing cards.
Right.
So out of all the artists in the world, he was chosen to be one of the top 5 artists to create that particular space for tops, for cards, right? So this bottle is not only a good bottle to drink, but it's also a collector's item because this artist is a very, very world-renowned artist.
Right.
So that's why you see the 3D line of Judah kind of popping out, because it's like, that's the artist Naturel.
So speaking on wines, right? Like how does a company like a Camus, Opus One, how do we make a company like yours? How do we get to that spaces? Like where you go to Carbones and these is the actual wines that they offer you. How do we get your wine to be looked at as prestigious as those type of companies?
Yeah, you know what it is that a lot of...
By the way, that was a real wine question, by the way. You know what I mean?
That's a real wine question.
That was a real wine question. I was proud of myself just now. I'm sorry.
That's a high level wine question right there.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think the answer to that is that when you create your own wine, there's like a hierarchy, right? There's like a certain group of companies that have their hands on the pulse of wine, right? So if you're able to now create a wine and get linked up with a Southern, for an example, who's like the major distributors of wine.
Right.
These guys have, accounts with the Fontainebleau. They have accounts with these major restaurants.
Right.
And so once you get involved with them, and they'll now will be able to then allow other restaurants, bars, or clubs to call them and say, hey, do you have the Stoudemire wines?
Right.
And then they have a shipload of that, and then they can send it in.
Right.
But if you don't have a distributor like Southern or these other companies, then people, you have to do your own thing, like talk to the club yourself, or talk to this person yourself, and like, hey, do you mind buying my wine and putting it up for sale there?
Right.
Which usually they'll ask you to get connected with the distributor to make it easy.
You played in both the NBA and overseas. What is the biggest difference? Like, did you feel like more of a star when you was overseas, or
I mean,
he already built up. He was already built a brand when he went over there.
Yeah, it was already a brand built when I went over there.
Yeah.
I mean, they already knew what it was when I went overseas.
Right. We thought you wasn't coming back like Stoudemire at one point. Like, no, that's over there. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yo,
Strawberry.
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
I'm saying Marbury.
In my mind,
Coney Island guy.
My mind was right, but you were wrong.
Remember how you went to China and he never came back? We took that picture. Was you gonna do that?
Yeah, I mean, no, I was
in my mind.
I was for sure coming back.
Wait, what?
I was for sure coming back.
Okay.
But I was there for a reason. I was there to learn and also to play. You feel me? So I took care of both aspects while I was there. And I wanted to continue that along until I got it all figured out, and then I came back.
Right.
So it took me 4 years to get it all like understood, and then I was able to come back. But as far as the game, the NBA is a whole different level. It's the top league in the world.
Right.
You feel me saying? You travel, you know, private planes, you got like 5-star restaurants, 5-star hotels. Overseas, you're not traveling like commercial. You're staying at 3-star hotels. You can still go to your top restaurants, but the travel-wise, it was different. You had to
guys
humble
overseas
yourself.
was like gunning for you because they're like, yo, come on, you know.
Yeah, so I went over there like, you know, I was already a 6-time All-Star, I had like great success in the NBA. And these guys, a lot of the guys play 1 or 2 years in the NBA, and they're making their name and their stars overseas. So they felt like I was coming over to like somewhat take their shine. But I went with a humble approach because I was only there to learn, right? But then I also played basketball. So it wasn't like I cared much about basketball, like I wanted to be the best for sure. Like I got MVP, I won 2 championships, All-Star MVP. I did all these things there, but I took a humble approach to everything. So therefore it was like, all right, stat one of the guys. You feel me? I could have went over there on the ego trip, like, this is mine. I own the team, because I did own the team. I was the owner of Jerusalem.
Right. You owned the team you was on?
Oh, yeah.
That's dope.
Thanks so much.
That should be the goal for everybody. I'm gonna go and own the team.
And the MVP?
I was the owner of the team and won the championship.
And MVP.
And All-Star MVP.
That's hard.
But how do you get the mind frame to go own that team?
Well, a buddy of mine approached me about it. He's like, listen, there's a team for sale. Want to get involved? You know, opportunities here, just let me know. So I got involved.
And that's in Jerusalem?
In Jerusalem.
Wow.
I'm like, listen, this is a space where none of us is.
You still own the team to this day?
Yeah, I'm like, listen, and the African Americans that were brought here as slaves are Israelites. So let me go here now, plant a seed here, build this program here, so that way now that we're returning back to our land, so then now, you know, I built that whole little infrastructure. So it's a whole different level of like learning, infiltrating, and also building in a space where we once were. And so I went through that whole process of like, we're back. You know what I'm saying? And then
That's a lot of planning. That doesn't take a
It's a lot of planning, a lot of history, a lot of
kidding me?
things going on there.
I don't know.
Kidding me? No,
And you
for
also
sure
played
not.
in the Big 3.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Stay busy.
Yeah.
You got a mic, bro.
I was playing in the Big 3. How was that?
But it was a vibe, bro.
Yeah.
Because it was for the people. You feel me? Like you go to the games and it's for the people. So I'm like, listen, I'm going for sure to play in the Big 3 because the ones that are there may not be able to afford the NBA ticket, you know, to go see NBA games, but they can go see their favorite players. You know, they can see me, they can see Allen Iverson, they can see Dr. J, they can see, you know, these different players.
Yeah, they won the championship. Big Baby.
You can see Baby, Corey McGetty, you can see like Jermaine O'Neal, you can see all these great players that you grew up watching, but you wasn't able to afford an NBA ticket. But now you can go see them now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you see Joe Johnson, you see these guys who are still playing high-level basketball and get good basketball. And I'm like, yeah, I'm for sure for the people.
Right.
So I got involved with the Big 3. And the African Americans that were brought here as slaves are Israelites. So let me go here now, plant a seed here, build this program here, so that way now that we're returning back to our land, so then now, you know, I built that whole little infrastructure. So it's a whole different level of like learning, infiltrating, and also building in a space where we once were. And so I went through that whole process of like, we're back.